Here we go.
What's going on, fellow park enthusiasts? This is the Park Geeks, and we're back here for another
Hey.
live stream or vid stream, as I'm told. And this time we are going to be going over some about restaurant experiences within the theme park world, as well as the latest from Halloween Horror Nights. Now, restaurants was something that Kurt has been wanting to discuss for some time because he's been to a lot more parks than we have. But Kurt, you will say have been quite the man of the world. So why don't you actually get us started here?
Yeah. So I want to talk about everybody likes food, right? Who doesn't like food?
Oh, heck yeah.
So I thought
Every time I travel.
Okay.
yeah. Right. And everybody likes good food. So I thought it'd be good to talk about our best and worst theme park food experiences. So I'm going to start it off. I want to start off on the positive notes. We'll talk about some good stuff first before we get into some negatives. Actually, I don't have that many negatives, believe it or not.
Oh, okay.
Most of my experiences are good. I guess I kind of know what to avoid. If I see a little stand that looks questionable, I'll just skip it.
Yeah,
anyway,
fair enough.
Let's talk about the good stuff. So I have to pick my favorite overall food park. I think has to be Epcot.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know of any other park in North America that has that many table service restaurants. I think Epcot, scores on that route. There are so many good table service restaurants in Epcot. Unfortunately, it is no longer the value it used to be. Back when I went in the 80s and 90s, the table service restaurants were an exceptional value. I mean, I every single day I would eat at least one of the restaurants, table service restaurants in Epcot, because the value and the quality was so good. Unfortunately, we got into the 2000s and Disney wanted to nickel and dime everything out of you, and the prices went up, the quantity and the portion size went down, the quality went down.
Well,
it's still. I wouldn't say it's bad now, but it's not what it was in the 90s. I think they peaked in the 90s. But let me just give you a couple quick examples. One of my favorites there in Epcot is the in Canada, the Le Cellier restaurant that they converted. It was originally a regular restaurant, and they kind of rethemed it to more of an upscale steakhouse. And they really did it. When that opened and that came out, that was just an excellent steakhouse. I ate there several times back before the prices went ridiculous and you couldn't get reservations. But they had a filet mignon that was to die for. And you had the Canadian-style cheese soup as your appetizer, and they brought out this wonderful selection of breads that was great, and they had fantastic desserts. It was just absolutely. It was expensive, even back then. I think it was like for just me, it was like $75 or something for the meal. But it was really good. This is back in the 90s too.
Oh yeah, probably now, like at least double that.
Yeah, I haven't eaten there now because I can't get a reservation anymore because everybody books all their reservations so far in advance. You can't get in there now.
Well, let's also be fair here. Let's be a little fair here, Kurt, because if you remember, you and I went to Epcot not too long ago to ride Cosmic Rewind, and we ate at this one place that was right next door to the ride that had this amazing General Tso's chicken salad. Yeah, that was delicious. Although they kind of screwed up my order a little bit. It took a bit longer than I expected, so they gave me a free dessert, which was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie.
Not bad.
But I have to admit, I'm not a big fan of fruit with dessert.
That's fair.
I don't think they belong together. Like, just give me the cake. I don't need the strawberry grape topping. Okay,
I'll take it. I'll take it right from you, man. Next time we go, we eating good.
Overall, Epcot I think does good quick service. I mean, the burger. If you go to the burger places, the burgers are burgers. There's nothing special. I usually eat there. But the other ones, the other quick service places, you go to the themed ones in the different lands. I think they're quite good. I've eaten at most of the table service restaurants in Epcot. I enjoyed them all. Never really had a bad meal. The only thing was just over time, the prices go up, the portion size goes down, and they kind of start skipping a bit here and there. But yeah, Epcot I think is on the top. I think to find more table service restaurants in a theme park, I think you got to go over to Europe, like places like Tivoli Gardens.
The actual continent, not some other park that's placed in.
No, I'm talking about real Europe.
Okay, just making sure. Sure.
Yeah, I'm talking about real Europe. Yeah, because eating at table service is more of a thing when you go to theme parks over there. I know when they built Disneyland Paris, they put a whole bunch of table service restaurants in that park to accommodate, which they turned out they didn't really need because it turns out the people went there and says, well, we're going to the park. We don't really want to spend all that much time in the restaurant, so
Yeah, yeah.
They end up converting a bunch of them back to buffet restaurants to speed up the flow a bit. But anyway, that's kind of getting neither here nor there. But yeah, Epcot I think takes the number one. I think overall.
I agree with you.
Now again another one which actually wins like the Golden Ticket Award every year for best food in a theme park is an independent family-owned park called Knoebels, which is out in the middle of nowhere in central Pennsylvania. It's a little family park. It's one of these. As another one of these accidental amusement parks. The owners never intended to build an amusement park. It started as a swimming hole and a picnic ground way back when, and they just started adding stuff over time. And they ended up with an amusement park. Who knew, right? And you can still go swimming. You can still go swimming. They have a campground, all that stuff. But anyway, they get the award for best food, and obviously I can't speak for all the people who vote for that, but having been there and looked at it, the things they have that's unique is it's a little family park, but they've got a huge variety of food. There's all these different places, all different food. It's just everywhere there's something different. And the other big thing is the prices are low.
Really?
For modern standards, the prices are cheap. You can get, there's all sorts of things you can get for under $10.
Whoa, okay, yeah, that's very cheap for a sit-down restaurant.
Okay, that's...
And I thought I thought Mrs. Knott's chicken dinner was cheap, but I mean, go on.
Yeah.
Keep going.
So that's kind of a fun place. I mean, it's decent quality food. I mean, none of it's gourmet, but it's all sorts of stuff. A lot of things you wouldn't see, like they have alligator tail. You can get alligator tail.
Is it any good?
Well, yeah, it's breaded. It tastes like chicken. I have to be cynical and wonder, why are they really just serving me chicken and calling it alligator? I don't really know.
Justice for alligators? I don't know.
It's on the menu. It's on the menu. You guys are in Florida. You have some restaurants that serve alligator around there.
Oh yes, we do. We have a place literally called Gators. You can get gator nuggets if you want.
Well, there you go. Yeah. Yeah, but then they have that there, and they have all sorts of variety of stuff. You can get Mexican food and just all sorts of stuff from all sorts of regionals. So they have some German food, at least a German-inspired thing. I'm sure none of it's authentic, of course, but it's just kind of inspired. But that's kind of a fun place. If you go there, don't just do the rides. Go and explore all the food that they have there, because there's just so many different offerings that they have. It's really unique. Very, very unique place.
Well, while we're on the subject of food and Disney, we still have to put together the video of this, but I think we can at least ask you this. What did you think of the food experience in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge?
It was okay. I mean, it all tasted good. It was overpriced, of course.
Yep.
That was the main thing that stuck out in my mind, is I'm paying how much for this?
Your best value there is probably a Ronto wrap, honestly. Just a good $12 sausage wrap you can share, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
you get what they call. Yeah, I had a spicy chicken thing. I forget what it was called.
Yip, something like that.
That was it. Yeah, it's a spicy chicken over rice. It was good. It was quite good, but it was only like 3 pieces of nuggets of chicken and the whole thing for $20.
Yeah.
It's kind of pushing it a bit there, guys.
Go to Satuli Canteen. Go to that place better in Animal Kingdom.
Yeah.
Well then,
how much did they charge us for the blue and green milk? I forget how much that was.
It used to be like $7, $8. It's probably like $10 now.
Or like a container like about that big.
Yeah, it was like $8 or $9 a glass. That's really pushing it.
Let me check now.
I mean, like, it was good. Don't get me wrong, but I get more with butterbeer over at Universal Studios.
$8.49.
Yeah.
And I'd rather have a butterbeer.
Yeah, about $9 is what I remember.
I mean,
it was
keep in mind,
okay.
I mean, it's good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not dissing it.
Yeah.
I just think for that much, like even for a theme park, it would be just a little bit bigger. So maybe that's just me. But yeah, I actually did enjoy the food at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Now, granted, I'm not as much of a connoisseur as Kurt is, so he's got his guts been around the world. My guts been around the food court. So that tells you things. But for the experience at Galaxy's Edge, yeah, I actually thought it was pretty good. The food was delicious. The theming, pretty good. I know a lot can be said about Disney Star Wars and its theming, but I will always give credit where credit is due. And matter of fact, they don't even call currency money over there. They call it credits. So there's a little something for you.
Your Republic credits, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the the restaurant we ate at Epcot, I thought that had delicious food. Uh, but I think one restaurant though that I really got a kick out of was one of the Harry Potter restaurants. It was the one that's in Hogsmeade. I can't remember
Three
the proper name of
Broomsticks?
it.
I guess
Okay, yeah.
Broomsticks, yeah.
Yeah. Because I just thought, okay, I love the world of Harry Potter. This definitely felt like it, and it definitely was that type of food that they would serve over there. And I had pumpkin juice, which was like liquid pumpkin
Oh,
pie.
it's so good. I enjoy
Oh,
pumpkin juice.
definitely. I mean,
Does not beat butterbeer, but it's still really good.
hmm And the other thing too, they were doing a survey asking, like, what's something that I would do to kind of spice up the place a little bit. And honestly, what I would like to see them do is have someone from Harry Potter come over the loudspeaker and just start roasting some of the people as if they're wearing the cloak of invisibility. Go, do you see that guy right there? The one in the fat shirt? I swear to God, he could eat 5 of those things and not go home full. It's just something like that. Or like they're screwing up a spell next door, just to kind of make it feel like you're in like the cafeteria at Hogwarts. That is something I would definitely like to see. Who knows if they'll actually use that idea?
I think for Epic Universe, they're going to really get their game up there, but that'll be another video. What's up?
Yeah, but how about having a wizard or a witch come around and do some close-up magic at your table for you?
Sure.
Yeah, why not?
Why not do that? Disney actually did that on and off. If you ever went to the Brown Derby restaurant at Disney Studios, one time when I ate there was one guy who was in the period costume for the 1920s, 30s, Hollywood era that it was themed after, maybe more like 40s. And he came up to the table and started doing some close-up magic to entertain us, just for our table.
Awesome.
That was kind of fun. And you're in the wizarding world. Why not have them do some magic at your table for you?
It obviously has to be like the kind of magic where you don't have to cover it up with a curtain, because that's the one thing I've noticed with that kind of magic. It cannot be pull a rabbit out of the hat. It's got to be something you can see at all times. So
it's a sleight of hand, card tricks, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, or just
but anyway,
predetermined effects.
Kind of
Yeah.
But actually, Daniel, I want to get your opinions on. We talked about this before about you had Mrs. Knott's.
Mrs. Knott's chicken dinner. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh my. Yeah, I gotta talk about that. That's easily the best chicken I had at theme park. Period. It was just well seasoned. Yeah. The portions. It's bringing Southern hospitality to the West Coast, my friends. It is huge. It's like, oh, I just want the dinner. Okay, dinner, soup, dessert. What? Just everything on one plate. They feed you.
Yeah, you order the dinner. You get the chicken. You get vegetables.
You get your side.
Biscuit.
A biscuit too.
You get a side. I think you get like. It doesn't always comes with soup or salad, right?
Yeah, it does. And I got soup with it.
And it includes dessert.
Yes, it does. And it's like, give me that boysenberry pie. This is the festival, so it was a really good experience. Yeah. I think the average dinner price is like $18, something like that. So less than 20 in California is ridiculous, and you get so much free value. I mean, I took some of that. I took some of that back to the Airbnb house we were in, and oh man, like if you're ever over there, it's a definitely great tail end at a day at Knott's. I would not eat it before you go on coasters. I would do it certainly afterwards. But yeah, I definitely got to shut that out. And I'm also going to shout out a couple places that I like in Disney a little bit. I think Satuli Canteen was pretty good. Even though it started kind of like the corporatization of like the modern Disney, like the food and the value, I think is pretty decent over there. And I think I'm trying to remember the place in Liberty Square, but I think it's called the Liberty Tree Tavern, where you can get like clam chowder, lobster, bisque, and like a bread bowl and stuff. That was probably my favorite thing at Magic Kingdom that I've had in a while, and it's certainly a sleeper. That you can go out there, plus AC, and it's so quiet when you go on a second floor, so you can have a picnic there, no one's going to care. Just enjoy yourself. I do miss old Pecco's Bill, when they had like the toppings bar and like burgers and stuff, and now it's just all now it's all changed. It's like I miss old Pecco's Bill. That was like my go-to for cheap eats at Magic Kingdom.
Right.
But as far as like settings and stuff, when I stepped foot in Disneyland's Blue Bayou, I think it was called,
Yeah.
I would have loved to eat there. Even though I know the food's probably not the best, the atmosphere was phenomenal.
It's
Um,
amazing. I mean, who would think to put a restaurant inside a ride? It's amazing. You got Pirates of the Caribbean ride going by right outside. If you're on the ride, you can sit there and look at the restaurants. I dined there a lot back in the 90s, before the parks got really super crowded. It was really easy to get a reservation to get in there. You could, if you went during the off season, you could just walk up and get a table with hardly any wait. Maybe you might wait 10 or 15 minutes and that'd be it. They just seat you like right away. And
yeah,
of course, did you have Dan, did you try the Monte Cristo sandwiches when you were at Disneyland?
that was the one thing I forgot to do because we were so crunched for time back and forth. But I think my parents would have just been like, "Well, we had the beignets, we had the corn dogs. If you put any more grease in us, we're gonna hate you."
I know. That's the thing. That's the thing about those Monte Cristo. I think that they've got to be the world's most unhealthy sandwiches.
But it
they
looks
are
so
awesome.
good.
They
Next
are
time
so decadent.
Man,
They are so decadent.
if when I go back to Disneyland with you guys, like I that's like the first thing I'm getting. It's like, all right, I'm getting a Monte Cristo, and then we're gonna ride Big Thunder right there. I don't care. We're doing it. We're
That's right.
doing it.
That's right. You gotta have them. When I was going back in the 90s all the time, I would limit myself to no more than one of those sandwiches per year. Because you look at them, they look so unhealthy. So I don't want to kill myself.
That's how I feel about
the.
That's how I feel about the Two Spin Emporium milkshakes. Like it is the most decadent dessert milkshake I've had in my life, and it's so much I can't even finish one on my own. It's ridiculous, and I feel bad because I don't want to carry that thing all day. It's gonna melt and be nasty later. So I'm like,
right,
gotta finish it.
Yeah.
But oh man,
no, the Monte Cristo sandwiches are an experience. So yeah, I gotta rate the Blue Bayou. I've tried some of the other things on the menu. It's all pretty decent enough. I always go back to the Monte Cristo though. That's their signature dish. The clam chowder is pretty good. I've had that. I had some sort of, I forget what type of steak it was. I tried to. There's medallions or beef or something like that. I forget exactly what it was called. That was actually quite good. But the Monte Cristo though is the go-to item there.
I think they have jambalaya there, which I would have tried, or some gumbo. To go on with
yeah,
it.
they should. Yeah.
That gumbo was like also on my menu, but again, like we were just trying to get so much done in one day. Disney just likes to do that for you, and unfortunately, like for dinner, we had like skewers in Adventureland, and it was just so pathetic. Like little pieces.
It's like those never were. I tried those once, and that was enough.
They tasted good, but it's not worth the money. It's just they don't feed you with it.
Okay, well, this is technically not in an amusement park. It's right outside, but I think I should at least give it a shout out just because of who I am. I'm a music geek, and that's the Orlando Hard Rock. I mean, if you look behind me, ladies and gentlemen, I have a massive signed autograph collection from various bands, and just seeing all that memorabilia that bands have used on stage in music videos, like some of the legendary instruments that these guys have played, it's enough to drool over, or at least a geek like me. And also the fact that each Hard Rock across the world is not the same. They got props from like different musicians all over the place. I even stepped foot one in not Nassau, St. Martin in the Caribbean, and it's got to be like the smallest one I've ever seen. But again, they have their own array of rock memorabilia, and turns out also one of the puppeteers of the original Yoda lives there. Go figure. Oh. Yeah, he has a little museum there, and I stopped by, met him, got an autograph. Who knew? So I do have to at least give a shout out. It's maybe not be in the park, but it is right outside. It is an attraction. I'm a music geek. I love seeing all that stuff. It's something I would recommend anybody checking out.
Yeah, it's good.
Kurt, you had other ones you want to give shout outs to.
Oh yeah, well, speaking of things outside parks, I have to go Animal Kingdom Lodge, Boma's restaurant at Animal Kingdom. That's awesome. That actually still ranks as one of my favorite restaurants of all time.
I want to go there.
Not just theme parks.
Animal Kingdom.
Huh? No, we haven't been there.
Oh, okay.
No. It's a buffet. It's a dinner buffet restaurant. It's pretty much typical food you would see, but it's inspired by the flavors of Africa. So it has spices and flavorings that you might not have had. I mean, it's chicken. You have chicken. They always have salmon. They have some kind of beef and pork. but it's just kind of spiced up a bit differently than you would have. It's just all just delicious and excellent food. Everything is very unique. All it has a whole table of salads. These really kind of different types, combinations of fruits and vegetable salads and stuff, and it's just all really good. They usually have like 4 or 5 different kinds of soups.
Ooh,
just
you're gonna have me there.
stuff.
I love good soup.
Yeah, and of course the dessert bar too. Of course, you gotta have that.
Oh,
You gotta make room for that.
Yeah, yeah. It's just all the food is just excellent all the way around. It used to be. I think before they knew what they had, it was a super bargain. Because for dinner time, it was only like $28 or something, and that includes soda too. So you get the buffet and the desserts and all unlimited refills of soft drinks for like $28. And it's like, yeah, sign me up. And so I would go back in the '90s. I would go like 2 or 3 times a week to eat there. And unfortunately, over time, they kept jacking the price up and jacking it up. Now, last time I was there, it was up to like $50. I says, oh, well, okay, this is still kind of worth it, but I'm not going to eat here every night now anymore. So that's a little bit too much.
$50 for a buffet is actually cheaper than $70 at the Garden Grill in Epcot.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
so it really depends.
They really charge you at those restaurants now. It's not the bargain it was anymore. But I still do go. I usually now Boma's just because of the price increase. I'll go there once on a trip. I think because I don't want to pay. If I go there, 2 or 3 times a week, we're talking for $150 just to eat there. That's kind of pushing it.
Mhm.
Yep.
At that point. But the food remains excellent, absolutely excellent. One of my favorite restaurants of all time. Period.
I think Animal Kingdom in general is pretty underrated when it comes to food. I think it's right there behind Epcot, as far as consistency all across the board and theming. Like Yak and Yeti is delicious. Like you go there, you sit down, you have great food from that region, and it's really good. I've only been there once, but good memories there. What's up?
I remember at the Pandora section, they had their own specialty drink. I can't remember what it was called, but I know it had those little boba beads in it.
Yep.
And honestly, I don't get it. I do not get what the big deal is with. Now I can't say much about the drink because I don't recall trying it, but it's these boba beads. I don't get it. It's okay, but it doesn't really add much of anything, or at least anything that I've noticed.
I like boba tea, but I know it's not for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, like the tea as it is, the flavor, at least for again some of these, is good, but I don't get what these beads add to it.
Fair.
But one restaurant that I took my mother to in Universal Studios was that Irish pub that's in the Chicago section.
Yeah,
Finnegan's.
Yeah,
we ate there together.
Yeah, my mother, like, she's not really into that kind of stuff. I mean, she obviously loves eating out and stuff like that, but I didn't really think that was her thing, like the theming of that place. But by God, she loved it. She loved it really.
The food is good. Yeah, we should talk about Universal. Those are actually Finnegan's and Lombard's are like my favorite 2 Universal restaurants. In fact,
Mythos.
when I'm going to Universal, I will almost always eat at one of those every single day I visit the park, because the food is excellent. You don't have to struggle to get a reservation, and the prices are not too bad. If you have the season pass discount, it actually gets to be more reasonable, especially when you compare to what you're getting compared to the quick service at Universal. Because the quick service at Universal is really expensive, unfortunately. And you look at the difference.
Yep.
I look at the difference between the quick service restaurants and eating at the table service restaurants, and it's like, well, hell, I'll just eat. It's it's only a few dollars more for the entrees, and you get unlimited soda refills if you're at the table service restaurant. You don't get that at the quick service. You only get one. And I says, well, hell, I'll just eat at the table service. It's a few bucks. Well, yeah, you got to leave a tip is the only thing that makes the price a bit more. But if you have the annual pass discount, the table service restaurants at Universal are really pretty reasonable deals. I like their food, so I pretty much almost always eat at one of them.
Speaking of which, Kurt, now at Islands of Adventure, there's that one restaurant that's like in the Lost Continent that has that big banner that has been rated one of the best restaurants.
Mythos.
Is that true? Would you agree to that?
It was rated. It was rated. I forget which publication rated it. I mean, that's always how the parks how they always do things is rated best by such and such publication. So I don't know which publication it was, but yeah, it was rated best by somebody. I've eaten there. It doesn't really blow me away. The types of things that are on their menu don't quite line up with my taste.
It's Mediterranean food.
Yeah,
so...
it's a little bit more. It's not quite what I'm looking for. I mean, like Finnegan's and Lombard's is more what I'm looking for.
Good bar food.
When I'm going to a theme park, yeah. It's harder. I've eaten there, I think, 2 or 3 times. I never had a bad meal, but it just does. The menu just doesn't get me excited. It's just kind of the thing. I'd rather, if they do something more traditional, they had like a filet mignon or like some sort of like blackened salmon, which is not really the right theme for them, but I like that a lot more.
What about that one restaurant you showed me? That's it's like right by the entrance, and you make a right.
Was that Confisco's?
Yeah, I remember you took me to that to that one time.
It was table service, right?
Yes.
It's near the entrance of Islands of Adventure, just before you get to the lagoon, right? That's Confisco's. Yeah, that's pretty good. I liked it. They took away. Unfortunately, they took away my 2 favorite menu items during the pandemic. They used to have these. They had individual brick oven pizzas they used to make. I love that, were really good. It was technically on the appetizer menu, but if you're by yourself, you can just have the pizza as a meal, And the other one, they used to have they had a really good French dip sandwich. They took that away too. I was kind of bummed by that. But they did add something new. They had the Korean barbecue rice bowl things.
Ooh.
Those are really good. I've had those. The last time I was at Universal, I was enjoying those. I was just saying.
I love Korean food in general, so that has my name all over it.
Yeah, those are good. Yeah.
Now, before we go into worst restaurants, is there any others you want to discuss, Kurt?
Oh, let's see. I think I do want to give some of a shout out to the Cedar Fair chain. They do a reasonably good job at most of their parks of coming up with some good food. One in particular is Worlds of Fun, which is in Kansas City. That's in barbecue country, and they have a place that actually for a regional theme park, they have halfway decent barbecue at the place. So you got usual pulled pork, and I forget what else they had. I usually got the pulled pork. But yeah, quite good. And Cedar Point, the same way, they've got a barbecue place. All very, very good food. And these are at regional parks, so it's actually pretty decent. And if you've got their pass with the dining plan, it's free. The food is free. It's included on the dining plan, which is really great. And yeah, I think that one springs to mind. We talked about Dollywood. We should really quickly mention Dollywood has good food. They have one table service restaurant at Dollywood. It was a buffet. Well, actually, it was a buffet place, but during the pandemic, you couldn't do buffets, so they changed it to where your server would bring the food to your table. So you would tell them which items you want off the buffet, and says, well, I want some fried chicken, I want some fish, and I want some of this or that. And they would bring little plates in and bring it to your table for you. And they still do that, and it's really good value. It's like for an adult, it's all you can eat. It's like $28.
Worth it.
And it's really good. It's really good food. It's all Southern home style cooking, and it includes dessert and sodas for like $28, and you can't beat that.
Nope.
Yeah, it's absolutely.
I would pay it, and I would get fat from it, and it's like, all right, this is my reward for walking 10 miles all day. Let's do this.
That's right.
Because when I'm at a theme park, I never feel guilty because I'm already doing all the work, sweating, walking, having a good time. So just indulge.
Yeah.
Get what you want. Enjoy good food.
Unfortunately, you can consume calories faster than you can burn them. It's the unfortunate reality of life.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's what I'm trying to. I have been losing weight. It's just like I'm just trying to keep that balance. But I haven't been in the theme park in a while. Yeah. But when I do, especially for Halloween Horror Nights, I'm gonna be out there and need all the energy. I'm gonna go ham. I'm gonna enjoy myself.
Yeah, Halloween Horror Nights, that gives you a workout, man. That's a lot of walking.
I was dead. I was dead that night. And I'm gonna be dead with Justin in a bit.
But keep in mind, Daniel and I are the ones that had the fried peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Okay.
Oh, so good. It's so different, but I would eat that again. It's like, let's go.
If we can fry anything, it comes out good.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, this is the South. What do you think we do down here?
Yeah.
Fried butter. Let's go.
One place I think we should probably at least give at least an honorable mention to, Kurt, is that buffet we ate at before we did Howl of Scream at Busch Gardens.
Ooh.
Oh, okay,
Do tell.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
Because Busch Gardens, I'm very iffy on the food there. We'll get to that on
Yes, I am too. Yeah, we should talk about that. But yeah, the buffet was reasonable. I thought. I think for the price, because that we had that combo ticket, right?
Yeah.
It was you got the buffet dinner and the Hollow Scream admission, and you got the front of line pass for was the first hour or 2 hours you got front of line pass as well.
Mm-hmm.
How much was that?
It wasn't very much. It was like $50.
Dang.
And you got dinner and Hollow Scream admission, and you got express to the houses for like the first 2 hours of the event.
Now I gotta go.
And you also got a show too. You also got a show.
Yeah, you got the show. We got a private show.
Oh my gosh.
Their show.
Justin, you gotta invite me out to this.
Yeah.
I need to make time.
I don't know if they do that ticket anymore though. I looked on their website last year and I didn't see that ticket, but maybe I just didn't look in the right place.
Yeah, I mean, like, the food wasn't exactly the best, but for the price you paid, yeah, it was fine. It's kind of like the same way you look at Little Caesars. So I'm like, yeah, it's good for $5. I mean, you could do better, but for $5, hell, that'll taste good anywhere.
Yeah. Well, we should segue this into Busch Gardens food in general. I think, Daniel, you have some things you want to say about it, huh?
Let's dive into the worst dining experiences.
Yeah.
We done our gushing here, but it's time to put our chips on the table because Busch Gardens, the last time I went, which was Christmas a year ago, oh my goodness. The line, the quality of food at this barbecue place right in the center of the park is just not good. It's overpriced.
You're talking about specific. You're talking Busch Gardens, Tampa.
Tampa, yes, Tampa.
I wanted talking about the barbecue place. I think is the one by Shikra, right?
Yeah. Love Shikra. Would ride that all day, but oh my goodness, like that food place, one of the worst dining experiences I had. Like the service is agonizingly slow. The food came out cold, and things were just kind of bland under season. It's the worst triad combo you can have when you're waiting that long, especially when it's literally. I think we went on Christmas. Yeah, we went on Christmas, but even still, it's like, hey, it's. I mean, all this time you're spending here. I mean, Busch Gardens is not the only one affected by this. SeaWorld also is pretty mediocre in terms of food as well. It's just sad. Like I want to see those parks do better. They need to do better when it comes to food.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Of course, for people know, Busch Gardens and Busch Gardens is basically owned by SeaWorld, so it's the same company. And you can tell the food. You can tell the food is kind of the same. Busch Gardens, SeaWorld Orlando and Busch Gardens Tampa. I don't really like the food at either place. I generally avoid eating there. Particularly, I'm really harsh here on SeaWorld. Sorry, SeaWorld. I like your park. I like your coasters, but your food sucks. I avoid.
It really does.
I actively avoid eating at SeaWorld. Like when I go to SeaWorld, I usually go for a half day because I just want to hit the coasters. Unfortunately, they've cut so many of their good shows. It's not worth sticking around for the shows anymore. We've talked about SeaWorld in past shows, so I won't reiterate all that. But like the food, I'll eat before I go into the park, or I'll eat after I leave. I don't want to buy food at SeaWorld at this point. They used to have a pizza buffet back in the corner where the water raft ride is. They took that out, unfortunately. Not that the pizza was really great, but it was cheap and it was all you can eat, and you didn't have to wait in line for anything. It was only like $15 for all the pizza, salad, soda, and dessert you could eat, and pasta. And if you had the pass, you got 10% off that. So okay, yeah, I'll eat that for that price, and I don't have to wait. But all the other stuff, you wait in those long lines. It's expensive, and the food isn't very good.
It's the worst combo. Yeah,
and like when I go to Busch Gardens Tampa, I usually will have one meal because usually I'm staying in Orlando, so I got to drive all the way out to Tampa to do that, and it's usually too difficult, to eat outside the park before I go in. So I'll usually get one meal in like the middle of the day, and just go hungry the rest of the day, and just eat outside the park on the way home for dinner.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually going to put down. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame, guys, because you're losing my business. I'm there ready to spend money on food at your park, and you won't give me anything worth buying. So I go to your park when I leave.
Yeah, I was actually going to put down for my worst restaurant experience was basically all of SeaWorld. There's really nothing there.
There's nothing.
And
The dessert menu is awful there. Like I wanted ice cream, and I had like 3 different people point. Hey, where's the ice cream place? Go here, then go here, then go here, and I didn't find anything outside of, I kid you not, pre-packaged bars. What is this?
Yeah.
I want my soft serve. I don't want stuff I got at a freaking gas station. Give me good stuff. Like, and this was at Howl's Scream at SeaWorld. You figured they bring out all the goods here. It's like the exclusive stuff. No, you didn't have it, and that really pissed me off when I went last year. I will not go again this year. Sorry, SeaWorld.
And being diabetic, when Kurt and I went, I needed to get something to eat, and he goes like, "What's there to eat around here?" He goes, "Nothing."
Literally.
I'm like, "Well, what am I supposed to do?" Like, well, you can get a panini here. I mean, he goes, "It's shit, but it's something."
Just go get a pre-packaged sandwich. Sure, that's fun.
I mean,
the only
it kills me because I'd love to represent Florida here, but yeah, SeaWorld, you have some overhauling to do, at least in the food.
Yeah, they got a lot.
Even their festival food is pathetic. Yeah. Like, I went to the festival in San Diego. Yeah, it's just overpriced, terrible portions that they give you there. Like, it's like a $10 bun. It's just one bun that's like maybe that big and like yay thick. $10.
Where's the beef?
Yeah, and the beef is like that small, and the bun that's already pretty tiny. It was breaking my heart in San Diego too, when there's so many better options outside the park. Ugh.
Well, at least I will say Busch Gardens Williamsburg is a bit better. I do go there, and their food is more palatable. I think it's still expensive, but it's actually, you get better quality for I'm not sure whatever reason they serve better food there, but they do.
Yes.
It's still expensive though.
Now, I will say I have not eaten a whole lot inside a lot of the restaurants at theme parks, just because, I'm trying to save on money.
Right.
But I will say, if there's one theme park, you said it was called quick service, Kurt?
Yeah.
These other, the one quick service thing that I've always seen people do that I never got are those giant ass turkey legs.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying they're bad or anything, but I'm seeing these people walking around going, "Where are you going to put that? There's no way you're going to eat that all in one session."
You just carry it down the line, and the hot Florida sun will keep it nice and warm, and you just munch on it. That's your salt intake. That thing is so loaded with salt. And once upon a time, it used to be $6. Now it's like, what, 15? Something like that? 15 cents, $16? It's expensive.
Yeah, they actually don't do a whole lot for me. I think, like you said, there's too much salt in it. I don't know. They don't. It doesn't really. It's not what I want when I go to a theme park. I guess I don't know. A turkey leg just doesn't strike me.
Mm-hmm. And and like I said, these things are huge. And knowing my family, they're like, "Okay, can I get a to-go box?" I can just imagine the person at the counter going, "You're kidding, right?" Like, where are you supposed to stick that thing in your purse? You got like a sandwich wrap or something?
Yeah.
No, you got to carry this thing around. But the other thing that I remember, Kurt, you showing me was at Six Flags. Part of the meal plan, you get this gourmet food, and you sent me a picture of soggy pizza. I'm like, oh yeah, really?
The photo is that the one I said? Yeah, it's actually not soggy, but it's. That's the problem with Six Flags has got, the Six Flags is the bargain basement theme park sort of, and they source all their food for the entire chain at once. So the pizza is exactly the same at every Six Flags park. Every park has a giant, almost every park has a Johnny Rocket, so it's the same burgers, and then they have the same chicken strips at every park. They have the same corn dogs at every park. It's kind of if you go around the country to visit the parks like I do, it gets really monotonous really quick. It's the same food everywhere you go, and none of it is really good. There's one or two exceptions. If you go to Six Flags St. Louis, again, you're in barbecue country. So they do have one place where you can get pulled pork barbecue stuff, and that's actually pretty good. So whenever I go to Six Flags St. Louis, it's like straight to the pulled pork barbecue. That's where I'm eating. That's where I'm having my meal.
Fair enough.
They're also good because if you have the dining plan, I think Six Flags St. Louis is probably the best place to have the dining plan. If you've got the Six Flags dining plan, you get your 2 meals, but you also get a snack item. And at Six Flags St. Louis is the only park I know of where you can get a double hand scooped ice cream cone as your free snack item.
Oh my
And
god.
they're generous scoops. You get this giant waffle cone with 2 big scoops in it. It's free with the dining plan. It's like the only Six Flags park that I know of that does that. Like at my local park, the hand scooped ice cream place is hardly ever open. It's only open on the busiest days of the year. The rest of it is just Dippin' Dots, and they only give you the micro size. They give you the only one you get for free is the kitty size of the Dippin' Dots. That's all you get. It's like ridiculous. Mm-hmm. And then you go to St. Louis and they give you it's good quality hand scooped ice cream double, and it's free if you've got the dining plan. It's unbelievable. So I give Six Flags does get 1 thumbs up for Six Flags St. Louis.
Hooray!
Yay, they got one right. But yeah, most of the rest of Six Flags, it's very forgettable food because it's the same, literally at every park. It's the same chicken strips, the same pizza,
same burgers. Yeah.
Would you say any of the restaurants at the Santa Cruz Boardwalk is memorable? Because we've only I remember us only eating at one place.
Yeah, because we went outside the park for pizza on the way home after that. It was getting late, but they've got most of the food places are really good. The park operates as concessions, so they bring in outside vendors, and they're all kind of competing. And there's several places that are my favorites. There's like 3. There's like 3 locations that I usually eat at. One place has fish and chips, the other one has Philly cheesesteaks, and the other place has a Thai chicken wrap, which is just awesome. And they also have other things too. But I usually get those things. Those are my favorites at that place. And there's another place that has really good garlic fries if you're into garlic fries. Yeah.
Carbs.
Yeah, it's really good with garlic. It's the best way to get your carbs with garlic.
Yeah, I shouldn't, but my God, it's garlic and carbs.
Oh man.
But some of these independent family parks, they really know how to do food.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
There was one forgot to put this in shout outs restaurant that I liked in a park he took me to. It was that one that was in California's Great America. They had like some kind of like fried chicken there, if you remember.
Yes, the chicken place. Yes, Maggie Brown's.
Yeah, that actually was pretty good. I mean,
it's actually not bad. It's actually decent for if you got the dining plan like me, it's a free meal. It's pretty decent for that. And it's not as good as it used to be, unfortunately. They changed the recipe a number of years ago, and of course the portion size got smaller, as you would expect. You used to get 2 sides. Now you get chicken in 2 sides. Now you only get 1 side, and they raised the price.
Of course, it's California.
It was. They had some really good stuff though when they first started the Christmas event. That park was traditionally closed throughout the entire winter season. It doesn't really get cold here. It was kind of a mindset thing that says, well, nobody wants to go to an amusement park during the winter months, and you kind of says, well, why not? I mean, it doesn't snow here. You got to put maybe you got to put a jacket on at night, but so what? I can put a jacket on. It's not like I'm going to die outside. It's like, okay, so it's 50 degrees. Oh dear, it's so cold. But anyway, they finally broke that mindset and figured, you can do events in the wintertime here. And the first year they call it Winterfest, is their Christmas event. They did a great job with it, by the way. They totally knocked that out of the park, that event. When they did the first year was so good, it was unbelievable, the amount of effort they put into that. But we can talk about it another time. But at the Maggie Brown's, they changed up the menu. Full turkey dinner with all the fixings. It was so you got turkey, mashed potatoes with gravy. You got some kind of vegetable and stuffing. And I think they threw a biscuit in as well on top of all that.
Oh my god!
It wasn't even. It was on the dining plan, so I got it for free. I think if you paid for it, I think it was only like $15 or $16.
Worth. Take me there now.
For a whole turkey dinner, a complete turkey dinner meal. That was really great. Unfortunately, they don't do that anymore. They cut that back.
Yeah, it's too good. It's too good. It's too good a deal.
Yeah,
losing money.
Deal. But at least I have fond memories of that turkey dinner, though.
All right.
It was good.
So
Now, before we move into any more before we move into Halloween Horror Nights?
For bad restaurants or shoutouts?
Yeah, I think we've kind of most of it. I mean, there's my local Six Flags Great America has kind of got one of each. I mean, we talked about the chicken's pretty good. They tried a Mexican place a couple of years ago. They refurbished one restaurant and they turned it into a burrito place, and that was like the worst burrito I've ever had in my life. It was absolutely awful. I mean, I didn't even finish it. I had a few bites. Yeah, it was on the dining plan, so I didn't bother. If I had paid for it cash, I would have complained to the manager. But it was free on my dining plan. I had a few bites of it. I said, "Oh, the hell with this," and threw it away. It was that bad. I mean,
damn.
I rarely ever throw food away. I'll tell you. And I threw this away. It was so bad. I mean, I had the beef. The beef was like chewing on rubber bands. It was like you couldn't chew it. It was all tough and stringy. And it was like and no flavor to it. Everything was bland. It was just awful. It was absolutely awful.
Yeah,
but I didn't eat there because that experience was so bad. I didn't eat there again for like over 2 years, and the place is only open seasonally when they're on their really really busy days. I finally ate there again last fall, I think it was. I said, well, I haven't tried it in 2 years. Let me see if it's any different. And I was kind of like, well, I have to do this, for science, and let's see if it's changed at all. And so I went try it. It was kind of. I was, you gotta sacrifice yourself at times. So it was actually okay that time. It wasn't, it wasn't great. But I think they, I think they did realize it was too far, too bad, too cheap and too bad. It was kind of better, but still not a place you'd go out of the way to get a burrito. I'd rather eat somewhere else in the park. But I do want to give a shout out for their Orleans event. They do during the summertime. They run a Carnival Orleans, which is basically a Mardi Gras event. But they do it during the summer, so they can't really call it Mardi Gras. The problem is Mardi Gras, the actual season falls during our rainy season, and the park's not really open very much. So it's not really the right time of year to do Mardi Gras celebration at a theme park. So they call it, Carnival Orleans, and they run it during the summer. But they have it's the same like all these other food festivals. They got food booths. Whoever, I'm not sure if they make the food themselves or they have a contractor bring it in, but the food is really good. The little food samples. I've tried they give you the little tasting cards and stuff. You can go out and get it's reasonably priced. If you buy the multi-use cards, it works out to about $7 a portion.
Good.
Which is pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
And they have portions are small. You're not going to get, none of these are like anything close to a meal. They're kind of tasting things, but it's really good. And then they had gumbos, and they got traditional shrimp boil, and they've got fried seafood. They got hush puppies. And they've got beignets is one of the items you get. The
yes.
Those are really good.
Gotta have them.
And they have a praline cheesecake, which is to die for. It's got like 10 million calories in it, but it is awesome.
You're eating cheesecake.
Really good.
Thoughts of health goes out the window.
Eat that.
Yeah. I mean, it was. I love that festival. I went like, I don't know how many days it ran, but I went like 2 or 3 times every week. Just to go to that and enjoy the food, and they have live entertainment too. They've got New Orleans style jazz bands playing throughout the day. It's just fun.
Speaking of
shout out.
Speaking of Mardi Gras, here's actually something that happened during the Mardi Gras down here at Universal. It's a little food related, but when you're, I don't know if you do this, Kurt, or if you do this, Daniel, but being an annual pass holder, one thing that I will occasionally do is volunteering, showing people around who don't know the way of the land, especially with this group of people that I met who happen to be German firefighters. And they're basically down here for a training seminar, and they had a day off. They wanted to check out Universal, and after I told them to check out the Point Stuntacular, they went, "Can you show us around?" And I said, "Sure." And the parade was about to start, and I said, watch this. Here comes the parade, and they're seeing all the floats. They're catching all these beads, and one guy who couldn't speak a lick of English was grabbing them and putting them on me. And I'm thinking, just be a good host, have fun. And I told him that in the actual Mardi Gras, women would flash their boobs to get these beads, and he goes, "Oh, teenies?" I go, "Not here, Scheiße," which is German for shit. And then I took him over to the Wizarding Worlds of Harry Potter, and I go, "Here, guys, this is butterbeer. Beer? No alcohol. Scheiße." took them to that green screen photo booth area down by the San Francisco set, and one of the guys he wanted his face to be juxtaposed on his hockey player, but he looked like Chris Pratt in it.
Oops.
And they want to come back because they want to check out Islands of Adventure, and they want me to show them around again. But still, I thought it was so funny. TDs? Not here. Chaser! Yeah, food of English, you can't go better.
You're right.
He knows one word of English.
Okay, moving on. We got some stuff here to talk about with Halloween Horror Nights. We have a full lineup here.
Finally.
For both. Yeah. Now, Daniel, you have us loaded. You have both loaded up here, so we can skip the Chucky, Last of Us, and what was that other one that they announced? That this is gonna drive me crazy. But there's one IP house that they did announce that wasn't part of the original 3, and that was The Exorcist.
Yep. So you want to go to those houses first and then the scare zones, or what? Like, how do you want to do this?
Let's do houses. Yeah.
Okay. So The Exorcist.
So what do we got here for The Exorcist?
So view details right here. We also have I think like a small little preview here, which I'm not going to play, but essentially, Angela, Catherine, two missing girls have been found with no memory of what happened to them, but wherever they went, the ultimate evil has returned with them. Witness a chilling chain of events as you enter the most terrifying scenes from the new Blumhouse film. Now, I did see a preview of this movie, and it certainly does seem rather, unsettling with, instead of just one girl, it's two girls that are freaking out the whole town at this point. But honestly, like, I'm not too aware of the Exorcist property. I
did see the original, the one that scared a lot of people, and at the time, yeah, that was very frightening. Nobody talks about the sequel, which is, you would know why if you saw it. Yeah, Kurt knows what I'm talking about. The third one, some people have described it as okay because they were trying to make up for the second movie. Didn't get a chance to see it, but this one, I gotta say, I'm curious. There's been a few different Exorcist movies, some a part into the franchise, some not.
Yeah.
This one, I'm curious. I will admit I am curious.
I do hope because we're having two girls possessed that they'll actually do a good job double teaming the people in the house, so that it could be good fake outs where you might see one of them and then the other one just pops up right there. Just really misdirection if they want to mess with your mind like that. And I'm very curious how close we're going to get to whether they're going to use actors or puppets. I'm not sure, but I think this could be a pretty good house, or it could be a really meh house, considering our opinions on Blumhouse last year, which was meh. It was okay.
Yeah, I mean, Blumhouse, their motto has always been low budget, high concept, which can definitely work. Don't get me wrong, but these aren't really the kind of horror films where, like, you're talking about them years later. If anything, they're kind of just like a fun night out. So, but because we're dealing with The Exorcist, I'm going to be curious to see how that is going to turn out.
Kurt, any thoughts?
Yeah, I don't think they've ever done anything with The Exorcist before.
The original, yes. The original,
really?
yes.
Not surprised.
Okay. Did not know that. But yeah, I guess I'd be interested to see what they do with that.
Mm-hmm.
And that was good.
No, the original movie was really good, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I'm not sure how comfy I feel while watching it, but we'll see. Is it? No, that's a different universe. I'm getting universes mixed up. So I think that is the last of the IP houses, or was there one more? We talked about.
No, that's it.
Last of Us, Chucky.
Stranger Things. That was the other house that they announced that was part of the original IP lineup. So okay, those are our 4 IP houses, which pretty good. Now there's always the Universal's Monster House, which is it is original IP, but it's familiar characters, so it's kind of somewhere in the middle.
Yep, this year we have Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, The Phantom of the Opera, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and The Invisible Man. I'm not sure how they're going to make the Invisible Man scary in the house, but I'm curious, like what tricks they could pull that off with.
What I'm hoping they'll do is that perhaps maybe someone like some actor will just be standing there. He'll lean his neck back, and then you'll see like blood squirt out from his neck.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
yeah, like he has some sort of like a pump ditched in the back of his costume. That's something I'm hoping to see because yeah, it's the Invisible Man. The heck are you gonna do? You basically got to make kills happen without the perp being there.
yeah. It just seems like it goes counterintuitive. But if I'm not mistaken, isn't Invisible Man the guy wearing the mask here, or is that Phantom?
No,
Um,
that's him.
okay. Yeah.
He
Well,
he always had like a bandaged head, bandaged mask with glasses and a hat.
Yeah, yeah, it's him on the right.
okay. Then yeah. Then you can certainly do some interesting effects with him. I'd say. Um, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde's pretty self-explanatory. Hunchback, you can make very scary. Phantom. Not, I mean, I am aware of the property, but I've never really seen the original musical or any film adaptation. So, Kurt, this is definitely a big shift from the classic monsters we had last year. So, what are your thoughts on these monsters? They all have the mask theme. That's what it's called, Unmasked. But what are your thoughts?
I guess, yeah, I hadn't really thought about it that way. I guess it could be interesting. I mean, it kind of depends what they do with it. I'm not really sure. They don't really say like last year there was a narrative to what was going on. They haven't really mentioned anything about what the narrative is. There's just okay, you're in the Paris catacombs, and okay, why are we in there? What are we doing? What's the purpose of all this? So I kind of wonder if there's a narrative to it or not.
Yeah, Paris catacombs. I've been in catacombs, and it's certainly very creepy. So they could make it very disorienting, and have a lot of just gory imagery there everywhere.
Yeah.
There's two other things I'm hoping to see from this house. The first is since we got Jekyll and Hyde, I'm hoping that we'll have some kind of a transformation effect.
Oh yeah.
Now I know it's probably tricky to pull off, but I've been proven wrong before. Let's see if they can do it. The other is that if they have the Hunchback, and we've seen the horror makeup show plenty of times, I'm hoping they'll bring the harness that with the hump that the original actor wore in the movie from the 40s. If you remember, they went over in the show.
Yeah,
that he wore. Yeah, he wore a harness to contort his body so he could play the part. So let's see you guys bring that back for this, just to be thorough.
Yep, sounds good to me. Any more thoughts before we move on?
That's it.
All right, so
we'll say it looks promising.
Yeah. We'll give our top 3 hype houses in a bit, but anyway, Dr. Alfellow's Twisted Origins. Dr. Alfellow, I believe, made previous appearances. He's tied to the official HHN lore. Like he's basically this doctor that I think the clown Jack goes to see, like to be absolved of his crimes. So I don't know too much beyond that, but yeah, it just seems like some sort of usual Twisted Witch Doctor type stuff from this house. So it says here, you won't be able to resist going inside Dr. Alfell's menacing menagerie of twisted oddities, but the price for you and your friends is steep. The cost of your souls to defeat his immortal power. I don't know. This could certainly be a hit or miss house, because I'm not sure how popular Dr. Oddfellow is. Do you guys know anything about him? Like, if he's really an interesting character?
I don't really know much of anything about it.
Yeah?
Me neither. Honestly, I know it's early in the list to say this, but honestly, I could see this one being a flop house.
Probably, yeah.
Because you're not really giving me a whole lot to work with here.
Yeah, it could be something experimental. It could be his debut house. I have to look in the actual lore to figure out more about him. But we'll move on. Oh boy, what do we have here? On the left, we have a surprising pick. Dueling Dragons, Choose Thy Fate. 2 warlocks of great power were turned to dragons after trying to take Merlin's spellbook. Now you and your friends are caught in their epic battle. You must choose a path and a victor. Now, Kurt, how accurate is this to the lore of the ride? I'm curious. Like, what are you expecting in this house?
I didn't know if the ride ever had any lore to it. I think I'm guessing they kind of invented this for the house. But it's kind of cool that they're bringing back an old ride for Halloween Horror Nights. I mean, that obviously shows how popular that ride was.
Oh yeah.
And we were talking about how much I missed that ride. That was one of the best B&M coasters ever built. and they took it out. Damn
They
it.
they better have a kick-ass dragon animatronic in there. They need to
Yeah.
Yes.
Multiple. They better have multiple ones in there.
get heads. Like give me some scale. Don't just kind of cheap out with the
Well,
chupacabras from last year. Although there were good puppets, but this is a beloved IP right here. We need to take care of it.
Yeah.
yeah, this is what I'm expecting. 'Cause this was years ago. There was some sort of a gargoyle house they had one year, and there was a moment in the house where you're walking over a bridge. Not like an actual like open house bridge. It was like encased in something.
Yeah.
But you could look out the window, you would see stars, and then you would see a gargoyle float by, and it looked convincing. I'm hoping we'll see something of that magnitude involving these dragons. I mean, they've done it before. Let's see you guys do it again. It was honestly a really good house and a cool effect. I mean, not too much the other thing too is that people tend to equate dragons with destruction, not so much horror. So I'm going to be really curious to see how they're going to pull this one off.
Yeah.
So I'd say this one, you have my attention. We'll put
Yeah,
it.
really.
Yeah, like we'll have to give our honest opinions, and hopefully it'd be something that when Kurt reviews the footage, we'll be like, man, I wish I was here. Like, I hope it's that sort of house.
Yeah.
I wish it's that sort of house.
I hope it's good too.
Because
I want it to be good too because it was really good. They made you a sequel.
yeah, typically, I'm not sure how that's just the trend, but one of the top houses from last year was an original house. So even though it's not technically original, but it is an original idea being brought to life, and I'm excited for it. So I hope it delivers. Yeah. On the right, we have Yeti Campground Kills. So you and your friends are about to venture in the 1950s campground overrun by huge menacing Yetis who rip apart anyone who gets in their way. You must flee to the Ranger Tower to escape.
So he finally left Disney.
This is where he ends up.
I was waiting to see if you guys would catch on to
that. Yeah. Oh, they got to make a reference to Disco Yeti.
Like, please, I'm begging you, Universal.
Yeah,
so
they gotta have a strobe light. There's got to be a strobe light scene in there.
So I gotta know. I need a refresher opinion. Like, this is certainly going to be a very campy house. But I know, pun totally intended.
Yeah,
but Bugs last year was surprising to me, a surprising sleeper of the night. Like, I enjoyed the Bugs house a lot, but you think we're gonna get something similar to that, or you think this has potential to be one of the worst houses of the night, in your opinion?
I wouldn't go that far because first of all, the first thing I'm hoping for is that number one, I want that house to be cold, not just air conditioning cold. I'm talking like you feel like you could be in a snow region cold. Because the other thing too is that more people die from the cold than they do heat, so that's going to already add a scare/chill factor, pun intended. The other thing too is there's not been a whole lot done with the idea of the Yeti being a horror, a creature of horror, even though he's a prime candidate for it. And so this one, again, just like while Dueling Dragons has more of my interest, this one I'm definitely curious about because there's a lot that can go wrong in the cold than in the heat. And when you're in a very wooded region like I used to be when I lived in New York,
yeah,
it's good. It's a good foundation for a scare.
Kurt?
Yeah, it could be fun. It's hard to know which way they're going to go with it. I mean, that's almost a movie cliche, is the monster attacking the teenagers in the campground at night. It's like how many horror movies have that as the central premise?
A lot,
Yeah. Yeah, quite a lot.
Amount of fingers.
I mean, even something as low as Evil Dead is a similar concept. You have demonic spirits versus a monster, but
it could be really cliche, but it could be fun. I mean, cliches can be fun if they're done right.
Yeah, just like with Giant Bugs from last year, it turned out pretty well.
Yeah. I
just wish the house was longer. That's a good thing. If I wish the house was longer, that's a good sign. That means it left a really good lasting impression. Instead of when is this house over, or what did I just witness? Like, I walked through all this like the witch's house from last year, and it's like it was so weird and disorganized and convoluted. It made no sense to me. And now
it's a witch's speakeasy.
Yeah. Our last two houses here. So on the left, we have the Darkest Deal. Blues musician Pine Straw Spruce will have to face the music after meeting with the Collector and trading his soul for musical glory. You and your squad learn the terrible price of fame.
Oh,
Hmm.
this one has me. This is the movie Crossroads with Ralph Macchio and Steve Vai.
I haven't seen that one.
That it is the exact same premise.
And was it
Yeah.
a good experience or curious?
God, I haven't seen the movie in ages, but basically, yeah, he had like, I guess Ralph's character like gets something off the devil for some kind of fame. It's time to collect, but yeah, he obviously doesn't want to pony up, so he makes him uh, play in a, I guess you could say, a guitar battle against Steve Vai, who's an amazingly talented guitarist, and Ralph's character wins. And to be fair, this isn't the first time this story has ever been done. From what I understand, this is part of blues music lore. Someone selling their soul to the devil for blues fame.
Yeah.
Even it was even referenced by Death Clock in their cartoon Metalocalypse. So this one, again, being the music geek, this has my attention. Like, okay, let's see what you're going to do here. Although I will say, the poster, you know, for lack of a better word, doesn't leave much up to the imagination. It doesn't really give me the idea of spook. Like, this is going to be something scary. This literally feels like a Bruckheimer movie poster.
Yeah, like what are the sets are going to be? Like, are we going to be in farmland the whole time? Are we going from club? Are they reusing sets from last year? I'm very confused how the layout of this house is going to be. How are they going to tell the story about someone selling their soul to the devil and then probably running for their life trying to avoid the Collector at this point?
Yeah, like so, like I know the story, so like I know what to expect. At least you know, plot wise here. But yeah, but going off this picture, like you're not really selling me on this one.
It could be candidate. Yeah, it could be. I'd say Yeti's probably more of a sleeper, possibly than Darkest Steel, but we'll see. I love being pleasantly surprised. What do you think, Kurt?
Yeah. Well, I have to start thinking about, you know, the devil went down to Georgia, right?
He needs a He needs a fiddle first.
Yeah, right. Right. That's not the thing that comes to mind immediately.
Yep.
Song where you're in the house.
Well, if they do have a devil character, I do hope they make him either scary or just, you know, make him convincing. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not sure how they're going to portray the devil here, because people can romanticize him or people can make him scary as fuck. Who knows?
And like I said, the picture is just not really selling anybody on it.
Yeah, right. It's probably going to end up towards the bottom. We'll see. And last but not least, we have Blood Moon Dark Offerings. So we have a colonial era village. Moon worshippers witness a blood moon at the fall festival. They take it as a sign to hunt down any non-followers, including you and your Scream Squad. Vampires. Okay.
Now, see, now this picture. Go ahead, Kurt.
Is it vampires? It doesn't say vampires, but obviously blood in the moon is kind of like implying vampires.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to be vampires of some sort.
Well, yeah, that would be vampires or werewolves, one or the other.
Maybe. Yeah. Moon worshippers, yeah.
Now, I will say, going off the picture of this, it's not as detailed even with the deal, but it does a better job at selling the house than Darkest Deal is, at least in terms of the picture. And I mean, come on, this.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it, it says that's horror right there. It's got the blood dripping off the letters. Okay, this is going to be horror.
You know? Exactly. Yeah. But I'll tell you, like, the one thing I would like to see this do, speaking of the topic of vampires and whatnot, is I would like to see them do zombies versus vampires, because there was a show back in the late 2000s called Deadliest Warrior, where, and I know I've told you guys about this, where they entered like battle stats in a computer fighting simulator to see who would win.
Fun show.
For the series finale, they did 183 George Romero zombies against 3 vampires from 30 Days of Night, and I would love to see them bring that house to life with the humans caught in the crossfire.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get that. I think it's gonna be more leaning towards like very cultish behavior, but it'd be nice to see a variety of spooky monsters and just a colonial revenge. Yeah, that seems to be a fun setting. Like the wharf from last year was in a. I know it's a totally different setting, but I feel like they might use some sets and ideas and vibes from that to maybe hope to make this thing shine.
Mhm.
Um,
If anything, I can see this being a mid-level house.
yeah, yeah.
A fun night out, but not something you're really going to talk about for years to come.
All right. So with that said, Justin, how about you give us your top three anticipated houses for Orlando before we shift over to the unique houses here in California?
Okay, now we gotta do this like in kind of like separate here, or at least for me, because IP and original are really two different categories here. So
So how about this?
first up, yeah. So for at least if I'm going to arrange the IP houses, first place is going to be The Last of Us,
Heck yeah.
hands down.
Number one. That's my number
Sec-
one right now.
Yeah. Second place is going to be Stranger Things.
I agree with you.
Third, I'm going to give it to The Exorcist just because that's still a bit more creepy than a demonic doll.
Yeah.
So that's how I'm going to rank the original IP houses. Now, as for the other ones, if you can scroll down a little bit here. Okay, off the top of the bat, I do have to give it to Unmasked. Then Dueling Dragons,
Yeah.
Yeti, the Darkest Moon, Oddfellows, and Darkest Deal.
I put honestly, it might be a mistake, but I would put Dueling Dragons as my most anticipated original house of the six because of its legacy and its potential to really bring back good nostalgia and to me, like I'm mainly with you. I think our hype count is aligned. Chucky, I'm not sure what your experience is with gore focused houses, but this is clearly marketed to be the goriest house of the bunch here.
Really?
I mean, yeah, I mean they mentioned it's a gore fest, bloody hijinks. So I'm not sure how fan of you of gore, but if this is what they're promising, maybe it could surprise
With real
you.
dwarves.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm taking 2 stabs at Disney with this year's Horror Nights.
So what about you, Kurt? Like of the list, anything would stick out the most before we move on to Hollywood?
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I'm not familiar with Last of Us because I never played the game, so I'm not sure what to make of that. So I can't comment on that. But the ones that intrigue me at least are the Exorcist, just from the original movie. I don't really know what Blumhouse is going to do with it, but we'll see. Obviously, the Dueling Dragons. I'm really curious to see what they're going to do with that. If they actually came up with something good or not.
Mm-hmm.
And I think those are the two that have my attention the most. I guess if I have to pick a third, hard to say. I think probably the Monsters Unmasked would probably be my number 3.
Yeah.
As far as anticipating something.
Yeah.
That might be.
It's
really
just
good.
our
That's something that catches my attention and I want to see. You know, if I had a choice of which line to get in, I think I would go for one of these 3 first before I went for the other ones. That's kind of my mindset.
Yeah, I think that's important. Like you get to the hype houses as quick as you can early on, so that way later on, I don't know. Like I think it's a good strat because then you can see you can save the houses towards the end, and hopefully surprise you, and not just ease you in, and basically hope the houses later on restore your hype. But okay, so that's it for Orlando. There are only 3 houses here on Hollywood's end that are unique, and they're all one's an IP. 2 are originals. So the only original IP here is Evil Dead Rise.
Yeah, that was the new one from the Evil Dead franchise, and I haven't had a chance to see it yet. However, it did get good reviews. So if I were over there, I would definitely have a lot of hope for this one.
Yeah, I've only seen the original Evil Dead. I'm gonna definitely watch the sequel and hopefully get into more in the franchise during Spooks Month. But it looks like fun. What do you think, Kurt? Like, are you familiar with this franchise since you're gonna be attending?
I'm not really familiar with it, but it looks good. I mean, from obviously the little image they have here with a lot of blood and stuff, that looks okay. That could be scary. That could be gory. That could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah. And as far as our um, original houses here, we have Monstrous, the monsters of Latin America. Ten cuidado or be careful, with La Muerte as your guide, and your Scream Squad must try to survive three terrifying legends: the blood-sucking Tialapuchi, Owl-Face Witch La Lechuza, or the Sucker, and bone-ripping El Ciblon, which I think is the Gravedigger. But yeah, it's honestly I haven't heard of these legends, and I'm Hispanic. Well, I've heard of Lechuza, but not the other two here.
I have to say that one I'm really curious about because how should I say this? I wouldn't say the American horror well has been tapped dry, but I would be curious to see what other cultures consider to be horror or scary.
Agreed.
And yeah, I mean Latin America definitely has the chupacabra. They have, I'm sure they have
They had La Llorona, which was there last year, and a
yeah,
lot of people raved that as the best house last year at Hollywood, which was
yeah. So
surprising.
it'd be really intriguing to see horror from other cultures. So that one I'd be down for.
Yeah, I think that from what I've seen here, that could be my sleeper pick for a really good
Yeah.
house.
Yeah, definitely curious to see what it is.
Right. Last but not least, holidays in hell. From New Year's Eve to Thanksgiving, your favorite holidays to celebrate with your friends are going to hell. 'Tis the season to scream in this holiday nightmare. The scarier, the merrier.
You know what? You know what this reminds me of? The beginning of the Nightmare Before Christmas, where you see all those trees of all of the holidays. It's like they're all
Yeah.
getting. It's like they're all exiting their own tree to go to Jack's World this time.
Yeah. Yeah. It could be. It looks like more humorous than scary, but that could be okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
honestly, it
yeah,
looks cheap, kind of like this idea, but I hope it's executed well.
yeah. It looks like a fun novelty. That's the best way I can put it.
Yeah, it could be. It could be a cheesy horror experience. Those could be good.
Mhm.
So that's
That'll,
basically. Oh, go ahead.
that'll be the closest thing Kurt will get to a Bill and Ted again.
And since
Yeah,
you
I miss Bill and Ted.
since you
I
did
miss
bring
Bill and Ted.
since you did bring that up, unfortunately, we're not going to get Bill and Ted back this year. Instead, we're going to have Nightmare Fuel version 3, basically. It's called Revenge
Yeah,
Train.
yeah. Because if I remember you correctly, Daniel, you were saying that the second one actually got some criticism.
Yeah, like people were expecting it to be a vastly different experience, but it was, I guess, too samey for them. Um,
Yeah, because even our friend Raul was saying that they didn't really change anything much up. Like they just got like some a couple of different dances and some different songs. That was it.
I mean, I'll still watch it. I'd still need to give my review, but it's probably going to end up being the same. Just an overhyped crowd, a lot of scantily clad women, fire, explosions, that typical thing. Um, we'll see.
I mean, to be fair, you can't go wrong with fire.
That's
Well, depending on if you accidentally burn something, but
yeah.
Yeah.
I also
but
noticed they don't have the light show listed here. Interesting.
Oh yeah. Maybe they're not going to do that.
The light show is canceled for this year. Sad.
that is disappointing. Now granted, like last year, I thought was too kiddish, but the one prior to that was definitely good. I gotta say, a little bummed out.
Yeah, like it was a fun use of effects, and uh, I wish they would have done more with it, and not cut it from the budget. But at least we're getting 5 scare zones. One
Well,
based off. Good.
to be fair, there could be some sort of technical difficulties because I've been going to the parks and it looks like they've been working on the rig of that for some time. So, like there could be some sort of a malfunction that they couldn't
They couldn't fix in time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
which sucks.
yeah, well, which I'll give them. It still sucks, but I'll give them the benefit of the doubt.
And last but not least, we have our 5 scare zones. So I believe this Dr. Oddfellow would be where the Pumpkin Lord was, just the thing that greets you in the park. So we'll definitely get a good impression of him as we walk to his house to see what that's like. Dark Zodiac. This is actually strangely 3 of these scare zones. all these scare zones are related to the Dr. Oddfell lore, but they're differently.
Really?
Yes. So if you read all of them, so collection of horror, probably just showing off like his creations and weird things that go on. Dark Zodiac, could be very fun. Dark Celestial theme. I don't know. I don't know where this is going to be at. I think this is going to be in the Hollywood section of the park. Jungle of Doom is the area between Hollywood and the ET area and the kid zone. So Jungle could be some fun that hang around there. This is going to be right by San Francisco. FAM 69 Summer of Blood. So we have a vampire house.
Of course, the vampires are going to be in San Francisco.
Yep.
And it's the summer of '69 of all things.
Nice. And then, actually, no, I'm sorry. That's New York. San Francisco's the next one over.
Close enough.
Yeah. So San Fran is going to have Shipyard 32. Could be fun.
Yeah. I will say there is something creepy about the water at night, or heck, even day. I mean, we did get a big kick out of that one house last year that took place in a shipyard.
Yes. I think I ranked that number 3 on my overall list last year.
Mm-hmm. So, but now you're trying to turn that into a scare zone, and I don't think you're really going to be able to simulate the water. I mean, if the last time they did something water related for a scare zone, they did have like people like look like they were covered in barnacles that look pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm guessing we'll see something like that. But yeah, like I said, I've been wrong before. Hopefully, I'll be wrong again.
Yeah. But I think overall, this potentially could be a step up from last year in terms of overall entertainment and just the house quality. Especially being a year removed from a pandemic, I'm sure they've had these ideas brewing for a while. And now instead of rushing to get houses out, I'm hoping what they got here, especially with the IPs they got, they're able to kick ass this year and just wow us with a good show overall.
Mm-hmm.
And since I'm going 3 times this year, that should hopefully shape my opinion as I go through each of them. Because I'm probably going to do like half one night, all of them one night with you, and then like focus on the other half on my final night there, depending.
Yeah, like the one thing I will say about this year's Horror Nights, at least pre-visit, is it looks better than last year.
Yeah, I think the lineup from last year didn't instill a lot of hype much, because we were all confused about the weekend, and that turned out great, thankfully. But here we have the hype. But the problem with that is we have high expectations. And if they fall short, then I think it's gonna sting as we walk through the night. So I hope that's not the case. I am curious though, like what do you consider like your peak HHN experience from the past, and what made that so great?
I can't remember what year they had this, but it would have to be when they did Resident Evil 2, the video game. Because as anybody who's a fan of goes, that was when the franchise was really kicked into high gear, at least during the early stages. I mean, since the remake of the game came out, it's catapulted it.
Oh yeah.
But just seeing Leon Kennedy on top of a cop car as soon as you walk in, and he's firing a gun to back off like a couple of zombies. You're seeing the liquor crawl up the wall. You're seeing the hunters try to reach out through a window and snag your head off. That was really amazing, especially for me as a Resident Evil fan. So I'm hoping they'll be able to do that again with The Last of Us.
I'm hoping for the obvious clicker scene there that they have an area where it's like eerily quiet, no music, no nothing, and just the clicks and darkness. They need to pull it off really well, because that terrified me playing the game, and that needs to be a thing. Like I want to walk out of that house, be like shivering, be like, oh god, I'm doing it again. Yeah, Kurt, any remaining thoughts on Halloween Horror Nights, or are you going to check out Not Scary Farm, or what's your plans this year?
Yeah, I don't know if I get the Not Scary Farm or not. Kind of see how it goes. I haven't really planned that part of the trip out, but we'll see. We'll see.
Cool.
We talk about the Terror Tram. You want to talk about the Terror Tram?
Yes, I forgot
Yeah,
about that. Go ahead.
yeah. What's that like, Kurt? What do they do with that?
Yeah, it's basically it's something like a cross between a house and a scare zone. Because I think the main problem for Hollywood is they don't really have the room for scare zones in the walkways, because the walkways are pretty narrow compared to Orlando. And so they only, to my recollection, the times I've been, they've only have in the whole event. And so I think they did the Terror way to get around that, because they have an area set up outdoors, but it's really long. It's a really long section that you go through. And they take you out in the tram. Only 1 year when I was there they did it, and yeah, once you get to the front of it, it's like a house in that you kind of go through it sequentially. It's not like a regular scare zone where you just walk around randomly in it. There's a beginning and there's an end to it, and everybody just kind of walks down the path. So it's kind of like a house in that respect, but everybody's kind of spread out. It's not the conga line experience either. It's kind of wider. It's much wider walkways. It's not the single file thing at all. And there's people there. There's live actors, doing the monsters and stuff, and there's some effects. It was okay. I mean, it was a long walk. It was a pretty long, 5 minutes. From beginning to end. I think it was actually fairly long, and then you get back on the tram and you take it back to the regular portion of the park. So nothing really happens on the tram itself. Although it looks like this year they're kind of teasing maybe, but it says the description says the Terror Tram is back, and this time the bugs are taking over. It says tour guide Larry Larva. his bug-headed exterminators are out to get rid of human pests once and for all. You'll be dropping like flies. So it looks like your guide on the tram on the way out, could be this guy, could be Larry, which might make it a little more interesting. Last night I did, there was nothing happening on the tram on the way out. They just take you there and they drop you off. It says, okay, everybody get out and go do the thing.
which is kind of a drag, because I was hoping it would be like one of those that's a scare attraction I've been wanting to try, because I do think there is an added element of horror when you're actually on a moving vehicle, especially when you're going through a corn maze or hay maze, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
Because you can't see anything. Period. Not one thing. So I know there's a couple of I think I saw an advertisement for Florida when I drove out to Screamageddon, which I stand behind. If you want to check it out, I would only do it if you're going to be in the area. Otherwise, it is quite the drive out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
I mean, it was fun, don't get me wrong. It's just, again, it's a long drive that I'm not sure if it's worth it. So, I am curious to look up these haunted hay rides, see if I can check one out. Granted, I know one does not represent all, but still, the idea of horror while you're on a moving vehicle sounds intriguing. But yeah, I think that covers what we're, everything else for here on Park Geeks, and let the countdown to Horror Nights begin.
Yeah, opening ceremonies were like less than 4 weeks away. It's pretty nuts.
And this season is going all the way to November 4th.
Oh yeah. Well, they're doing.
Well, you can tell how popular these events are becoming. They keep stretching them out longer and longer and longer. I mean, back in the quote unquote old days, Halloween Horror Nights didn't start until practically mid-October. It was pretty much just like the last 2 or 3 weeks of the month. Yeah.
And then they realized money.
Money.
People are coming and spending money here.
And here's the kicker too. There's people, the people that I work with at my church. They're kind of curious to check them out. They never been. I'll never understand this. These guys have been living in Florida for almost their entire lives. They've never been to Universal or Disney.
Yeah.
It's like, and now they're adults. Now they're curious to see what these are like, and one of them happens to be a midget. So, like, you want to go to the Chucky house? But no, like they're all genuinely curious. Like, what is this? What's it like? I go, let me tell you something here, buddy.
So we definitely got to decide when we're gonna go, Justin.
Absolutely.
I'm going on September
fact-
13th with my first little group, and then I'm going in mid-October with another group. So maybe some sweet spot in there we can find a good weekend. Well, not weekend.
Yeah, and my friend Bruce Carr was just saying, like, hey, who wants to go check out Horror Nights? Because he now works at Universal.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Good man.
All right, that about covers it up for this week's episode of Park Geeks. We'll see you guys next time.
Yep. See you then.